Fellow Nigerian, I'm here to address you once again in the course of our nation's history. And it is a disgrace that President Tinubu does not trust anyone. He doesn't trust himself. He's afraid of his own shadows. He doesn't believe in anybody. This is the first time in the history of the universe and the entire world that a presidential candidate of a political party will double as the chairman of the Presidential Campaign Council for his own election. I mean, how can you be a presidential candidate and you are the chairman of the Presidential Campaign Council?
Dino Melaye says that President Tinubu appointing himself as the chairman of his presidential campaign shows that he does not trust anybody. I disagree with him. In fact, I think we may be looking at this from a completely wrong angle, because there is another way to interpret what Tinubu has done. The man who asks Nigerians for the job is putting his own name on the campaign to defend the job that he has done. And politically, that matters. But people like Dino will not see it. These are people that are supposed to take a pen and a paper and start jotting, but is there faulting the move of the president. Politically, this is a strategy. Let us establish the fact first. The APC 2027 Presidential Campaign Council has President Bola Tinubu as the chairman, the Vice President Kashim Shettima as the vice, and the APC National Chairman, of course, is the Vice Chairman too. But here's the part that critics like Dino conveniently leave out. Senator Abdulaziz Jari is the Director General. Hope Uzodinma is the Secretary. But he left all those ones and begin to talk about why the president is putting himself as the chairman. Okay, there are deputy director generals, for mobilization, administration, planning, logistics, parliamentary mobilization, infrastructure, and all that, including our own indefatigable Senate leader, Senator Michael Okpeyemi. Don't forget that there are other zonal and sectoral structures. No, Tinubu did not appoint himself chairman and then tell everybody else to go home. Is that what happened? He has placed himself at the top of the political structure while still deploying a large campaign organization underneath it. Strategy, fantastic. Well, now, Dino Melaye says this demonstrates trust, but let's ask a different question. What if he demonstrates ownership? Tinubu's decision sends the opposite signal. This is my record. This is my ambition. This is my campaign, and I'm prepared to stand at the front of it. That is ownership. People like Dino will never understand that. And there is another important political lesson here. Campaigns are not merely about posters, rallies, and slogans. A presidential campaign is ultimately an argument between a candidate and the electorate. The candidate is saying, look at what I promised, look at what I have done, look at what went wrong, look at what has improved, and now decide whether you want me for another time. So why shouldn't the person making that argument be personally involved? Tinubu's administration has made enormously consequential decisions: fuel subsidy reform, exchange rate reforms, fiscal changes, and other economic policies. Those decisions have produced both benefits and very real pain. And because Nigerians have felt that pain, the president cannot reasonably expect Nigerians to judge his administration without judging him personally. He owns the record, so it is perfectly logical for him to own the campaign. And here is where I think Nigerians need to be intellectually honest. You can disagree with Tinubu's policies. You can believe the reforms were badly implemented. You can believe the cost of living remains unacceptable. You can oppose his re-election. All of those are legitimate political positions. But criticizing a candidate because he's personally involved in selling his own record, I don't find that criticism particularly persuasive. It is not. In fact, I will argue the opposite. A candidate personally taking charge of his campaign creates a stronger expectation of accountability. Because when the campaign says Tinubu delivered this, Tinubu achieved that, Tinubu changed this, there is no ambiguity about who is ultimately asking for the vote. He is the one asking for the vote. Yet again, leadership is not only about delegating. Sometimes leadership is about stepping forward and saying, put the responsibility on me. That is what I see in this arrangement. And if Tinubu is personally willing to take ownership of the political campaign, Nigerians should also expect him, to take ownership of the campaign's message, the administration's records, and the promises being made for the next 4 years. That creates a very simple democratic bargain. If you want our votes, come defend your record. And that is exactly what a presidential candidate should do, not hide behind party officials. Own it, defend it, let Nigerians decide. So Dino Melaye sees distrust, I see something else: personal investment, political ownership, direct accountability, and perhaps most importantly, a candidate saying, I asked for this job and I'm prepared to personally ask Nigerians to renew my mandate. This does not mean criticism should stop, but let's criticize the president for the things that deserve criticism. Because ultimately, the question in 2027 is not who chairs Tinubu's campaign. The real question is, after 4 years, has Tinubu given Nigerians enough reason to give him 4 more? And that is the debate that we should be having. If you ask me, I would say yes.